Hello, Lion Nation. This is Marcus Richardson. I first want to say thank you for having us on this call. I am married to the lovely Carla Richardson of 16 years. We have two beautiful children, Adriel and Maya. My son is the oldest, he's 12. And then Maya, she's my baby girl, she is 11. And so I've been with Andy and Jane for the last 8 years, and it has been quite a blessing, quite an incredible ride. Love the Alliance family, love Tim and Gay, and those just want to say thank you for Andy and Jane for this opportunity. Thank you to all those who have poured into us for the last 8 years, and even not the last 8 years, but just over the course of my life, because I know you're a sum total of the people that have poured into you and kind of an accumulation of that. So I just wanted to start off the call by saying thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to be able to speak. I don't take it for granted, and I don't take it lightly. As you can see, I'm in my mobile office. For those who are watching the call, that mobile office is my car. I am out running appointments, and it's so convenient. The call for me today is how to book 40 appointments in a week and get committed to it. So I am going to do my best to, hopefully today, I kind of give you some nuts and bolts. I want to inspire you, and I want to sell you on why 40 appointments is a game changer, and then how to do 40 appointments. So I'm big on not just giving you information, but I also want to give you information that you can apply and kind of get it in and get it out. And so if you have questions, I'm not sure if they can raise their hand, or if you have my cell number, you can shoot me a text. If I can get it and get to it as we're going through here, I will. I plan on giving you a lot of information, a little bit of time, and hopefully this will bless you and it will help you. So I wanted to start off by reading this. So my call today specifically is how to do 40 appointments, the activity and the schedule, and how to stay specific on that. So let's start with a little quote here. So I've read this and I've heard this several times. I love it. And it says this. It says, "I bargained with life for a penny, and life would pay no more. However, I begged at the evening when I counted my scanty store. For life is a just employer. He gives you what you ask. But once you have set the wages, why, you must bear the task. I worked for a menial's hire, only to learn, dismayed, that any wage I had asked of life, life would have willingly paid." So when I first heard this, I thought this was so profound for me. And it really gets back to that coin that I have in my pocket that Andy is always getting us to think about. What do you want and how do you get it? So when you hear that poem, it's by Jesse. If anyone wants to look it up, Jesse Rittenhouse is the one who is on the poem. And it's crazy because really what we have to do is we have to decide what we want, and we have to decide how do we get it. So that's what I'm going to be talking to you about tonight. But here's what I know is when you decide what you want, just like the poem says, it says you can ask of life anything you want, but what you have to do is you have to be willing to pay the price. You have to be willing to work and to get after it. So I'm going to encourage you on why 40 appointments and paying that price is important and why you can do it. So first, let's talk about what an appointment is. So an appointment is this, because I know a lot of times, and I've been hanging with Andy the last several weeks, and I love how he's been teaching about the basics. And sometimes we'll get on calls like this, and I can find myself trying to be profound, but I'm going to try to do this the simplest way possible today so that everybody, when you hang up the phone or you get off of here, it'll be very practical and you'll have some nuggets that you can use to really explode your business and help other people in your business. So if you don't have people on the call yet, reach out to them, shoot them a text and say, hey, get on the call. We're going to start showing you how to do 40 appointments, get as many people on as possible. But what I was thinking of this, is that an appointment is when you pick up the phone, right? So this is a dial. Let's go through that first. You pick up the phone, you put in the 10 digits, and you hit the green button on your cell phone. So that's an outgoing phone call to another person. A dial is not a text message. Door knocking is not a dial, right? A dial is when you push in the 10 digits and you hit the green button. And then once you hit that green button, that is what they consider, what we here at the Alliance consider a dial. Now, a person will pick up that phone. That's a contact. Typically, it's got to be a person who filled out the form or the significant other who can make a decision to book the appointment with you. Now, the appointment is this. It's when you get that person on the phone and you get them to agree to meet you at a certain time and a certain place on a certain day. So it can't be, oh, just call me back later today at 5, right? And you hang up and you're like, oh, I got an appointment. That's not an appointment. So let's go through that together if you're taking notes. An appointment is when you have the client who filled out the form or the significant other, and you have them scheduled for a set day that you're going to meet them and a set time that you're going to meet them. So that's what an appointment is. And then you have both decision makers there. That's also key because you don't want to go on a bunch of one-leg appointments because you get real frustrated. So that's what an appointment is, making sure you have the person, the significant other or spouse, and then making sure you have a set day and a set time that you're meeting with them. Now, here's the other key, because I know sometimes when people are doing 40 appointments, I call it the head fake. Don't head fake yourself. Solidify the appointment, get a solid appointment, and it needs to be within 24 to 48 hours. Yep, I'm going to say it again. An appointment needs to be within 24 to 48 hours. And sometimes people say, well, are those exceptions? Are there exceptions to the rule? Yes, there's exceptions to the rule. But in 8 years of hanging out with Andy, he's always taught me that you don't build your business on exceptions. You build your business on principles. So that what I'm going to do today is give some practical principles of how to really set your schedule up to get the 40 appointments. Now, the first thing I want to do, like I said, is I want to sell you on why you should book 40 appointments. So the biggest thing that you got to do, the biggest thing that you need to do, hang on one second. I got somebody sending me a text message. All right. The biggest thing that you want to do is you got to make a decision. Decide that you want to book 40 appointments. Our lives right now, up to this point, my life is a sum total of the decisions that I've made up to this point. Whether that's good or bad, my life, your life is a sum total of the decisions that you have made up to this point. So I don't know about you, but when I heard that, I actually kind of like that. Because if I don't like where my life is at, I can make a decision and I can change my situation. And so, hey, I got somebody sending me a text message. Can anybody on our team send Lakeisha the Zoom link from our WhatsApp, please? She's sending me a text message and I can't send it right now because I'm on the call. So David or somebody, if you guys can send Lakeisha the link to that Zoom, that would be awesome. Thank you. All right. So getting back here, I apologize. So getting back to it, the decision. Our life can change in one decision. One decision good or one decision bad can change your life. And if you've been on the earth for any period of time, you know this to be true. So I was thinking about people who have made decisions and how we're reaping the benefits of those decisions. So I love basketball and football, and I love Michael Jordan, right? And what we're looking at, when you think about Michael Jordan, you think about the 6 championship rings, how he carried the Bulls to 6 championships and never lost a finals when he was going to a 7-game series. And what we recognize Michael Jordan for is the results. Like the reason he has a multi-million-dollar, even billion-dollar industry is on shoes and everything else is not because he's handsome. It's not because he's African-American. It's not because he can jump out the gym. We look at Michael Jordan and we favor Michael Jordan because of his results. And that's what I love about our business is you don't have to be able to jump out the gym to do this business. You don't have to be certain height, certain weight, certain skill set. You just have to be able to get results. And that's what 40 appointments a week will do for you. It'll start allowing you to be able to get results and get cash flow coming in. And so think about MJ for a minute. This kid was cut in high school. Yep, Michael Jordan was cut in high school. And the coach told him he wasn't going to be able to make it. But the other thing that he did is he said, you know what, Michael, if you really want to play for me next year, here's what you got to do. You got to come back and work out with us and do the workouts, but you're not going to be able to play on the team. Most people don't like that because, again, they want the results, but they don't want the work that comes with the results. Most people want to submit 10,000 a week, but we don't want the work that comes with submitting 10,000 a week. So what Michael Jordan did is he's a winner. He's a champion. He's got a champion's mindset. He said, all right, I'm going to go and I'm going to work and I'm going to outwork people. I'm going to work harder than most. And so Michael Jordan started working and even though he wasn't on the team, and we know him as Michael Jordan, right? Win the slam dunk contest. jumping out the gym and being the great Michael Jordan that he is. But what it did is it started with him in high school as a competitor because he was not going to take no for an answer. And so the first part of our phone call, really, I just want to sell you on the mindset of a champion. We got to have the mindset of someone that says, you know what, I'm making a decision today on June 23rd about 1 o'clock Mountain Time, 1:10 Mountain Time, and I am going to book 40 appointments a week. That's it. Barring a vacation, if I'm out of town, some family emergency, I'm going to do 40 appointments a week. And then when you make that decision, heaven and earth come together to help make that the reality. But the first thing I want to just sell you on today is making a decision to go all in, making a decision to leave it all on the court, to leave it all on the field, to give it everything you got, and to do 40 appointments a week. Because if you're full-time, honestly, 40 appointments a week is a full-time job with us. If you're part-time, some people say, well, I'm part-time, Marcus. Then for part-time people, 20 appointments a week. So the first thing, if you're taking notes, is decide that you want to book 40 appointments a week, right? And I wrote this down because I'm big on teaching. So hopefully you get something out of this. The definition of decide, it says this. Decide means to come to a resolution in the mind as a result of consideration. So I'm asking you to consider what I'm saying today. Consider what 40 appointments a week would do for you in your business, in your life, and consider that. And then if you think that it's going to benefit you, come to a mental resolve in yourself that says, you know what, I'm going to do 40 appointments no matter what happens. Like, I'm going to push to get these 40 appointments. And then let me just again tell you that the results that it produces is what people will fall in love with. Like, the reason that we're on this call is not because I've been with Andy for 8 years, not because we're good friends and buddies, but because of results. I was talking to a person the other day, and he had asked me a situation about the whole how I feel about being an African-American and the Black Lives Matters. And I'm not going to get on that soapbox at all. But what I told him is, I said, the only reason you're talking to me is because of the results that you see that I'm getting. And I don't toot my own horn. What I was trying to really tell him, that if you really want to have influence and you really want to have an impact, you got to get results. And 40 appointments a week will get results in your life. And remember about making a decision, okay? So when you make a decision, it will change your whole life. I remember when I was a young man, I had gotten into some trouble. So I'm going to just be transparent on the call today too. I had got a DUI, and I went and saw my counselor. And you got to do these drug and alcohol classes. And so when I went to go see her, she had asked me a question. She said, Marcus, do you know why you're here with me today? I said, no, ma'am. Well, I said, yeah, I was drinking and I got pulled over. I got a ticket. And so I have to pay my fines and do my court costs and stuff like that. She says, okay, well, whose fault is that? I said, well, when I was young, my brother kind of introduced me to drugs and alcohol and stuff like that. And she looked at me and she said, well, Marcus, is your brother sitting here with you right now, paying me money every week to come see me because he got in trouble? I said, no, ma'am. And she said, so why are you here? I said, well, my grandmother, when I was young, she died. She helped raise me, and I didn't know how to handle it. So I started drinking and smoking. And she looks at me and she says, I'm sorry to hear about your grandmother, but is your grandmother here with me right now? I said, no, ma'am, she's not. And she said, okay, now, so tell me again, Marcus, why are you here? And I said, well, my parents got divorced when I was a kid. It was a bad divorce. I didn't know how to handle it. It was a mess. And I was just making excuses and blaming and blaming and blaming. And she looked at me and she said, again, Marcus, I'm sorry to hear about your parents' divorce, but are your parents paying me $50 a week to come and see me because of something that they did? I said, no, ma'am. And she asked me a question. This is when the light went on about the power of a decision. She said, Marcus, do you see where I'm going with this conversation? I said, yes, ma'am. She said, if you keep blaming other people for the reason why you are the way you are, you're going to be a repeat offender. You're going to be another person in the system, and you're going to be just another number and going through, because that's what people do. So here's what I would say to us in the Alliance. How does this story relate to us? Until we take ownership for our business, until we take ownership for our personal production, until we take ownership for our team, until we take ownership for the Alliance team, then our business is going to keep going around, going around, going around. We can blame the wife. We can blame the kids. We got different functions going on. They want you to come to every birthday party. They want you to do this and do that. You can do that and point the finger, but you'll be like I was. You'll be blaming everybody else for why you're not further ahead in life. And until we get ownership in our own self, saying, you know what, I'm going to own this. This is my business. This is what I've chosen to do. And I'm going to do whatever it takes to make 40 appointments a week. Your situation will not change. So I'm selling you on this first point. Hopefully I'm doing a good job. I'm trying to sell you hard on why you want to make a decision to book 40 appointments a week. All right. So point number 2 is why. Why do 40 appointments a week? Because we talked about it a little bit, but the stories, the results, and the things that you would see in your life, the fruit that it'll get you. So here's some reasons why I've decided to book 40 appointments a week. Because here's what I know. If I book 40 appointments a week, even if I'm not good and I'm having a rough week, then we will submit anywhere from 8 to 10,000 a week on a bad week if you book 40 appointments a week. Yep, that's right. And I do know this is if you're at the starting contract at 55%, which if you're booking 40 appointments a week, submitting 8 to 10,000, it won't stay like that very long. But let's just say you are. So let's say you're submitting about 5,000 a week. So you're doing 20,000 issue paid production. The super pack that Andy's come out with is going to bump you up to an 80% contract in 2 months. So that's a good reason why you should book 40 appointments a week, right? Another good reason why you should book 40 appointments a week is because when you're working and getting after it, there's no greater joy than working and getting after it. A lot of people are tired in their life, not because of what's going on in life. It's just because we have no purpose. I told Carl the other day, I feel like the 40 appointments a week has given me a new goal. It's given me new zest, new things to shoot for. And it's helped me become more clear and more focused because if I'm not in an appointment, guess what I'm doing? I'm on the phone working on getting another appointment because it's helped simplify my life because right now the only thing that matters is getting my 40 appointments a week and then showing one more person how to get those 40 appointments a week. Because if we get everybody saying the same thing, it's going to change and revolutionize our business. Here's another reason why you want to book 40 appointments a week. So you can lead by example. If you're building a team and you have people looking at you, honestly, 40 appointments a week is like a full-time job. Is if you're not doing 40 appointments a week, I honestly wonder like, okay, what are you doing? I remember when we first started the SEAL team thing, Andy simplified it for us and said, it's 20 appointments a week. And even in doing 20 appointments a week, I still had a bunch of free time. Can I be honest with you? I still was able to shoot the breeze, come home, see Carla and chase her around the house, all that, right? But when you're focused and getting 40 appointments a week, you don't got time to be chasing your wife around the house because you got to go and get it in and get after it. And it's one of those things where if you put down the effort, about 90 days from now, you'll be seeing the fruit of your labor. And it'll stretch your faith muscle. It'll stretch your confidence. And here's the other thing that I do know is that when you begin to work hard, you'll begin to develop your self-esteem. So self-esteem is how you feel about yourself. So if you're struggling with the way you feel about yourself, if you feel inadequate, if you feel like, oh, I don't know enough to go in homes and be effective, because I have felt the same thing. What happens when you start working is it raises your confidence level. It raises your belief level. You have a different walk about you. You have a different talk. You have a different swag about you. So when you start booking 40 appointments a week, it'll raise your self-esteem. So that's another reason why you want to book 40 appointments a week. The second reason on why you want to book 40 appointments a week is it'll raise your self-image. I remember when I was hanging out with Andy, when I first started about 8 years ago, he had always told me, he said, there's only 2 ways that you can raise your self-esteem, Marcus. And he said, it's by the books that you read. No, I'm sorry. He said 3 ways you can raise your self-esteem. He said, it's the books that you read, right? And so your self-image, my bad, how you see yourself. The books that you read, the people you hang around with, right? And what you do. Let me say that again. So to raise your self-image, how you see yourself, because you're only going to perform to the image that you have of yourself. Because even now, if I'm saying 40 appointments a week and the most you've ever booked is 12, it's a stretch to be like, oh my gosh, you want me to do 40 appointments a week? That's a stretch. So what I'm saying is let's change the way you see yourself so that you can see yourself as a top producer. You can see yourself as someone who books 40 appointments a week. You can see yourself as doing those things. So as you begin to read the information that you need to read, right, you'll start to change the way you see yourself. And as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. So this is critical that you do the 40 appointments a week, because you'll start to think of yourself differently. And then the second thing that it does for you is it allows you to get to a place where you start beginning to hang around other people, because now you'll have money to go places and to be around people who are having success and having the kind of success that you want to have. And so that's number two. And that's also one of our 8 steps of success: attend all meetings, duplicate, association, right? Edification, the light of day. So as you are associating and getting around other people, it'll stretch your belief. It's funny because every time I hang out with Andy, Carla's like, I like when you hang out with Andy because you come back and you're a different person. You got some confidence, some swag. I've always been a confident young man, but when you hang around other people who are having that kind of success, it just kind of rubs off on you. And then the third thing is the work. So as you begin to work, your belief level will go up. The first time you hit 40 appointments, you will feel awesome. And make sure you don't do the 40 head fake appointments where half of those are not real solid appointments, but you call it 40 appointments and you set them a week out. That ain't what I'm talking about. I'm talking about 48 appointments with a set day and time where you're going to be meeting with them in 24 to 48 hours. That will change your world. It'll change your cash flow. Okay. And last reason why, before we get to our next point on how to do it. So the first part of this, I'm really just selling you on the mindset of why we need to book 40 appointments a week. Okay. Here's the other thing it'll do for you. 40 appointments a week will create momentum. Momentum is the hardest thing to get in our business, but it's the easiest thing to lose. You sit down and stop working for a week, you take 2 weeks off. It's like, it's kind of like going into the gym, we were working out and Carla and I had a consistent routine. I was 2-3 times a week in the gym, and then the COVID hit. And so they closed down the gym. And so I wasn't going to the gym. And then I decided to do my little gym at home, and it's just not the same. And I got back in the gym a couple of weeks ago, and I'm like, man, I'm sore. That's how momentum is. Once you get 40 appointments a week, you start submitting business, you start getting annuities, you start finding safe money, right? It'll begin to get you into momentum where you start growing. And then the moment you stop doing it, you lose momentum. And then you got to go back and break stride and go back in the gym and set up a schedule and make it happen and get in there every day so you can rebuild the momentum. So again, 40 appointments will allow you to start creating your own personal momentum. And then you show someone else in your team how to do 40 appointments a week, and it'll start creating team momentum. And then once you get team momentum, I don't know if you've ever watched sports, but sometimes the better team doesn't win. Sometimes the team that just has the ball bounced their way is the one that wins. Sometimes the team that just begins to start stumbling and kind of rolling down the field is the team that ultimately wins the game. And it could be like a fumble, interception. It could be a touchdown by one of the key players, and you can just feel it on the sideline. You can see it shift, and then the momentum goes to the other team, and then it's like game over. They won by 21 points. Like even, for example, y'all watch the Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes and them, they were down, they were losing. There was no reason. That whole playoff series against the Tennessee, and y'all got to bear with me, I'm a football nut. So when he played against the Houston Texans, they were losing by 21 points in the first quarter. They came back and won that game by 21 points, and they just steamrolled the whole game. That's what momentum does for you. So why you want to get 40 appointments a week is you want to get momentum behind you. You want to get momentum working with you and working in your favor. So once you get that momentum working with you, then it's easier to begin to start seeing the things bounce your way. You start to have what they call momentum creates. Some people call it luck. I call it favor, whatever you want to call it. But it just kind of gets it on your side to where things just begin to start going your way and rolling your way. So we want to encourage you. So this is why you should book 40 appointments a week. Hopefully you're starting to understand why I'm selling you so hard on booking 40 appointments a week if you're full-time. If you're part-time, it's 20 appointments a week. So let's talk about how to do it. You ready? So here's how to do it. So the first thing is you do need resources. So especially if you're brand new to the business, you're going to need you some resources. So for us, resources look like this. So I wrote this down. So some resources are leads, right? You're going to need leads. You're going to need a consistent, steady flow of leads every single week. Now, if you're just starting, you're saying, well, Marcus, I don't have any leads. I'm going to encourage you to do several things. The first thing is get with your manager, the person that hired you, and say, all right, man, how can I get some leads? Do you have some leads that I can work on and start practicing? And then The manager that hired you will help get you going and kind of put some seed for you in your business, but don't stop there. The next thing you want to do is you want to book 10 appointments with people that you know and love and trust you. And you want to tell them, hey, I just need to practice my phone script. I need to practice my in-home presentation. I'm coming over tomorrow to practice. What time are you going to be home? Yep. Yeah, they're your friend. Just, you don't have to go through the whole phone script. Hey, I've got my life insurance license. I need to practice. My manager that hired me said I need to go through 10 presentations before I can go into the field. What time are you going to be home tomorrow so I can practice? And go through your ATM. Practice. So I'm talking as if you're brand new, just getting started. But when you do that, do those 10 appointments, not over 5 days, right? Don't do 2 appointments a day. Do those 10 appointments in 1 day, 2 days max. Because what that's also going to do is it's going to shorten your learning curve. Because when I first started, I was terrified. What product do I sell them? What do I say when I get to this situation? You start doing 40 appointments a week, you'll get through your learning curve very fast. And then once you get to that learning curve, the rest of it becomes fun because now you kind of know what you're doing and you know enough to be dangerous. So you get with your manager, get some older leads, call people that you know, your friends, your family, right? Put out some ads on your social media page, but get people that you can actually practice with, and then go through your ATM, go through your in-home presentation. So that's 10 appointments, right? And then as you go through your 10 appointments, the next thing is when it comes to, so I'm talking about how to now. So the first part of our call was why you need 40 appointments. This next part is how to do it. So now that you're getting older leads, now that you're getting 10 appointments with people that you know, from those 10 appointments, in every home you go in, you need to be getting our ERS, which is Emergency Response System. There's calls out there that Jason and Tony did that are very good on how to get the ERS. So I'm not going to spend a bunch of time selling you on how to do that, but you have calls on our Alliance Media app where you can go to and you can get how to get ERSs, the importance of ERSs, but it's a free lead. When you get an ERS, you're building on the credibility of that person already. So you don't have to really sell them hard. You don't really have to push and twist their arm. If they book the appointment with you, 80 to 90% of those ERSs are going to be a sale. So this is another way that you can get more resources. Okay. So you're in the home, you get a sale, you get ERSs. You talk to your 10 people in your warm market, you get ERSs. So if you, for example, sat with 10 people, and let's say out of those 10, you helped out 5, and you got 10 ERSs in every appointment, that's 50 free leads. That's 50 free leads. 50, 50. Out of those 50, that gives you more chances to be able to book more appointments. You see where I'm going with that? So you want to get those ERSs so you can get chances to be able to book more appointments, because you can't get an appointment until you have more people to talk to. So the leads gives you people to talk to. Your warm market gives you people to talk to. The sales that you close, the ERSs, that just gets you to your next sale. That gets you to your next person that you want to be talking to. Another way that you can get more resources, so again, this is on the how to. How do I book 40 appointments a week, Marcus? Is face-to-face. So if you're out and about, you can just tell people what you do. That you're in life insurance, you're an insurance you're a licensed insurance agent, and you know who does their policies, or when's the last time they did an annual review, right? And then you want to set up a time to meet with them because you are licensed. So as a licensed agent, you have the ability to go out and literally print money. You just got to have a want to. It's kind of like that poem I read to you earlier. You set what you want life to pay you, and life will pay you whatever you want. But then the next thing is, what are you willing to do to get after it? How do you make that which you have set become a reality? So hopefully this is the how to, and this is making sense. All right. So let's go over that again. You got your leads. You have your referrals, people that you know, right? Your 10 appointments that you know of your warm market. And then face-to-face, just face-to-face recruiting and social media recruiting, like social media ads. Those are people that know you already. You already have a rapport with, and you can set an appointment with them. Remember, a day and a time that you're going to go see them and their significant other within 24 to 48 hours is what we're calling an appointment. And let's talk to you about the resources. So on the resources, coming back to leads, I'm circling back now. This is all about the how to. When it comes to leads, that for me is what I loved about this business, is because the place that I worked at when I first got my insurance license, they said they had leads, but they were giving people free stuff to book the appointment. So it wasn't really a lead. Most people say, I just want the free stuff. I don't really want the insurance. Just give me all my free stuff. This one for us, mortgage protection is cut and dry. You die, it pays off your loan. Final expense, cut and dry. If you're over 50 and you want to figure out how to pay off your funeral expenses, fill this postcard out. And then they send it back to us. So it's very cut and dry. It's very simple, very plain. But for me, that was the key thing. Ain't nobody called me all day. Now my phone keeps ringing. I apologize, y'all. But that for me was the key thing, was making sure that we had people to talk to. So what I'm going to encourage you to do is always check with your manager, right, and set this GMR up. The lead performance team is awesome. Brandon, Ashlyn, Evan, you guys are doing an incredible job. Keep up the great work. But get with them and do it like this. So when you first start, not everybody has a bunch of money, but you want to get to a place where you're investing in your business. And here's what I know and what I've been taught. Every $100 that you spend in leads will be about $1,000 of annualized premium. That's right. So that's if you're average. So if you want to sell $1,000 of annualized premium this week, you need to get about $100 of leads. So you can do that from instant purchase off the lead map. I would encourage you to do a GMR, because when you do a GMR, you're going to get it at a discount. The leads that you would normally pay a certain price, when you get a GMR, after 4 weeks in, they're going to give you a discount on that. And Ashlyn and the crew can show you how to set that up. And then it's just a standing order. Because when you get a GMR, you're really saying, I'm committed. You're really saying, I'm going all in. And it's a bill you got to pay every week. you can't get around it. And so if you're like me and you know you got a bill coming in, I can't get around it. I'm not going to pause it. I'm just going to get to work and pay it. So it forces you to go and work, because now you have a bill that's coming each week for $100, right? So you got to at least cover your bill every week. And so here's what I know about our business is that it compounds. We have a compound effect. Once you start getting good, you can get $100 worth of leads and really turn that into $2,000 of premium. But if you're not good and you're just getting started, I would say set your business up like a business, your cost of goods sold. So leads are our cost of goods. So you go in and you say, you know what, Brandon, you know what, Ashlyn, Evan, I have about $100, $150 a week, even $50 a week. But you need to set up a GMR. You need to have a certain level of commitment. Commit to your business, commit to your income, commit to giving it all you got, commit to helping these families. And a GMR is how you do that. And you say, all right, I want leads in these different counties. Okay. So if you're saying I want leads in these different counties, here's how that works. Now, let me just show like this. If you want to submit 5,000 of business a week, right, and get 40 appointments a week, you're going to need to invest $500 a week in leads. Yep. $500 a week in leads. So you're telling me, Marcus, that if I want to submit 10,000, I need to invest $1,000 in leads? Yes. Now, when I first heard that, I freaked out. Quick little story. I remember when I first did my first lead order, Robbie and I were sitting down and talking, and he was like, Marcus, your numbers are about as good as everybody else's. You're just working on all these older leads. I think, bro, like if you got some newer leads, I think you would crush it. And I was like, oh, Robbie, I don't know, man. I don't know. And he was like, but you can do it, Marcus. I think you can. He was selling me on it. I was like, all right, man, let's do it. And so Robbie and I put my first lead order in, and we had about $700 worth of leads on my first big lead order. And I was like freaking out. I'm like, Robbie, oh, this is crazy. I was like, Carla, babe, do you think I can do it? She's like, yeah, Marcus. And that's one thing I love about my wife is she's always believed in what we're doing. She's always believed in me. And she's my number one fan. I'm crazy about Carla and how she cheers me on. But she's like, babe, I think you can. I think you're as good as anybody else. And so we got $700 worth of leads. I was freaking out. My heart was racing. But I said, you know what? My dad says never let him see you sweat. I'm just going to get on the phones and work. This is what I've been doing. So that weekend, I ended up getting on the phones, getting my leads that Saturday. And I think I booked like 15 appointments for Monday and Tuesday. And that week, I went out and wrote about $9,000 in premium. So it's the averages are about correct. My lead order was about $780. I wrote about 9,000. Out of that 9,000, I think like 7,000 got issued, got a paycheck that week for like $3,000 or $4,000. It was an incredible program. So that's how our business works. So would you trade $700 to make $4,000? So you have a net of $3,300. Yes, all day long and twice on Sunday. That's how our business works. It's the same thing at the small levels. Would you trade $100 so that you can submit 1,000 and have 500 come into your bank account and then have a net of 400? So if you're having a net of 400 at $100, just multiply that times 10, and that's what that gets you. So if you invest $1,000, then you're going to get $10,000 of production. Now, if you've never put a lead order in, if you've never been set up a GMR, don't get off this call fired up, crazy, ready to run through a brick wall down the streets naked and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and set up a GMR for $1,000. Talk to your manager. Say, hey, here's some tips that Marcus was giving us of how to book 40 appointments a week and submit $10,000 of business every week. What do you think about this? And they'll really go through your numbers. So if you don't really have any statistics or numbers, or you don't know how to work, I'm not encouraging you to invest $1,000 a week in leads. But if you have a good work ethic, if you have set times where you're working and getting after it, then I'm talking to you specifically that you should be able to go in and do the $1,000, and really get those leads under management and really be able to explode in your area. So that's how our business works. So on leads, set up a GMR. If your GMR does not fill, we got the social media, Facebook leads, the bang bang leads. You can go in on instant purchase and you can get more leads off the lead map from whatever hasn't filled. But we have leads and we have resources. Now that's for my newer folks. Now for my people who have been with us for a while, if you've been with us for 6 months, if you've been with us for a year or more, here's the next part for those guys, okay? Is if you have current clients, the CRM, go back through your current clients and start scheduling your 6-month review, start scheduling your annual review, because again, it's just about getting appointments. And then when you get in the home, you're going to find, because especially if you just started, I'm better now today than I was 8 years ago. And so my first annuity that I sold was on my current clients because they knew me, they trusted me, and I knew what questions to ask. So if you still are struggling with getting annuities, if you're still struggling with getting enough appointments, I'm encouraging you to start calling through your CRM. That Today tab is butter. That one with the birthdays, I was telling Carla the other day, I honestly, last week, I think I submitted about $3,000 of premium just on calling people and saying happy birthday and scheduling an annual review. So after you call them and wish them a happy birthday, do not hang up the phone without scheduling an annual review with them. Even if it's not a whole year, even if you sold their policy 4 months ago, 6 months ago, 3 months ago, you need to still set up a time to do their review. Okay. So this is, again, how you book 40 appointments a week. Go through your CRM. You can send out the text blast, encourage them to call you, see if they have any referrals. But what you really want to do is just be thinking about, okay, what can I do right now that's going to help me get my next appointment tomorrow? You're only as good as your last sale. What can I do right now that's going to help me get my next appointment tomorrow? And here's another question I always am asking myself. Is what I'm doing right now the best use of my time? Write that down. That's a good question for you to ask yourself as you're in the field, personally producing. Is what I'm doing right now the best use of my time? When I'm recruiting, is what I'm doing right now the best use of my time? Is who I'm talking to right now the best use of my time? And when you have 40 appointments and you're in the home, I'm not going to sit around and fart around with you for 30, 40 minutes and we're not going to get this sale. Like, we should know within the first 5 to 15 minutes if we're going to be able to do business, because you have 10 other people to go see. And the other thing that 40 appointments a week does for you is it creates leverage. You're not desperate for a sale because, when you go into the field and you only have 3 appointments, boy, all 3 of them better be home. Because if they're not, it's stressful, right? Oh, man, you're like, come on, I need everybody to be here. I need everybody to buy insurance. I need everybody to pick up a policy today. I know I have been there. And then when they're not home, you're like, oh, no, I only got 2 more shots. And then you get to the second one and the wife's not there, but the husband is. And you're like, oh, man, he told me he's going to have to talk to his wife. And then you get to your last one and you're like burnt out, mentally drained, stressed. You're not on your A game, and they tell you they're going to think about it. So now you're hating life. This sucks. It's not as good as they said it was. No, it's not that. It's just that you haven't really given yourself leverage and you haven't created a sense of urgency because you don't have enough appointments. So you got to be the one that's creating the urgency by having your schedule filled up. And this is the way I coach to people in our team. Think of yourself as an airplane, right? Southwest Airlines. Southwest Airlines, there's a flight taking off probably right now, as a matter of fact. And when they take off that flight, they have so many seats and so many seats that they can fill. And they say, on Tuesday, on the 23rd of June, we have a flight leaving at 3 p.m. Our job is to fill up every seat in this plane. So your job is that your flight is going into the field Monday, Tuesday, whatever day you run your schedule. And so think of it as the airplane. Your plane is taking off, but your job is to fill up every seat in the plane. So when you stop and you start booking appointments, you are the Southwest flight that needs to have every seat full. because every seat that you don't fill, every appointment slot that you don't fill, you're losing money. That's how Southwest looks at it. That's why they market to you and can sell cheap tickets cheap, because they just really want to fill seats. Our job as sales professionals is to fill appointments, because my plane is taking off. I'm leaving my house. I'm going to see people. I'm going to get in the home and I'm booking these appointments because my plane is taking off. So I got to go and see people. That's a good mindset to have. My plane is taking off. It's my job when I get on the phone to fill up these slots. All right. So I think I hit you with the how to and the resources. That was good. Now we're going to hit our last little point and then I'll wrap. If you got questions, you can shoot me a text and I'll see if I can field some questions. But the last one is schedule. So, you got 24 hours in a day, 168 hours in a week. It's our job to maximize our time in those times that we have available to us. So you need to know, like, pick a day that you can run in the field, and that day or days needs to be 24 to 48 hours after you're making your phone calls. So when you're looking at your calendar, you got Sunday through Saturday, and you want to be able to say, okay, what days am I calling? Because sometimes people say, well, what days do you call on, Marcus? I call every day, right? I do have some days that are heavier than others, but I don't want to tell you exactly what I do. I'm just going to kind of give you the shell for it, and then you can get with your manager and put a specific schedule together. So if you wanted to work on the weekends, I probably would make dials on Thursday and Friday and run business Saturday and Sunday, because that's a 24 to 48 hour rule. And then I probably would make phone calls. If you wanted to work Monday, Tuesday, I would make phone calls Saturday or Sunday, and then I would run the field Monday, Tuesday, right? Or if you wanted to run Wednesday, Thursday, then I would make phone calls on Monday and set Monday and Tuesday and set those up for Thursday and Friday. And so really 40 appointments is just, 4 days of 10 appointments a day, or you can do, 5 days, 8 appointments, however you want to slice it. But you really have to be deliberate in your time management when it comes to 40 appointments a week. So look at your calendar and ask yourself this question: when can I make phone calls on these leads, and when can I go see them? If for some reason your schedule doesn't open up for you to run business, like let's say you're part-time and you can only run on Saturday and Sunday, you need to be spending time on Thursday and Friday dialing and filling up the schedule and filling up a whole day. So that would be my biggest suggestion to you when it comes to schedule. Everything, I'm going to have you default to your manager and just say, all right, what schedule do you think works best for me? But if you're full-time, there shouldn't be any reason why you cannot book 40 appointments a week and put those appointments in the schedule. Remember, you're that Southwest flight, and it's your job to market. It's your job to fill up your calendar. It's your job to get 40 seats full every single week. If you get 40 seats full, you will be submitting $5,000 to $10,000 a week. And we got a new Power of 10 coming out with the $10,000 of submit. And once you start getting that 10,000 submitted, it's going to change your world. So this is why you need to do 40 appointments a week. Hopefully, I've done a good job of selling you on this. Again, don't put head fakes in the appointment. So the head fake is where it's not a real solid appointment. They didn't give you a set day and time. The husband's not going to be there. That's not an appointment. They tell you to call back later, or the ones that say, yeah, I should be home by 5, but call me. Don't put that in as an appointment. I've done it. I know. I've done it too. Oh yeah, I got another appointment. I'm almost there, right? Don't do that. You want to put in solid appointments, because you don't want to be in the field thinking you got 8 appointments and you only sit with 3. I would tell you that most of those are probably head fakes. Don't fake yourself out. If you're going to be taking off, if your jet is going to be leaving the day, it's expensive to fill up your jet. You want to make sure that you have every seat full on. Then this is what 40 appointments will do for you. It will keep you focused on filling every seat, and it will help you get cash flow. You can take that cash flow and invest it back into your business. You get staff, you get office, you get people helping you. You start building a network, building a team, and then you just really grow your business. So I know they gave me an hour. I didn't think I'd take a whole hour to get this in, but I just really wanted to speak to you the mindset of why you should book 40 appointments a week, and then hopefully the how-to on the leads and the resources have helped you. And then, of course, the schedule. So I will say this on schedule. I like to start dialing at 8 a.m. When I'm dialing, especially on the weekends. I like to start at 8 a.m., making sure I get it in early. I know some people start as early as 7:30. And then I also recommend, if you're doing weekday dials, I heard Jason, and I kind of stick to this. It's been really good for me. But when I'm dialing on the weekdays to book my 40 appointments a week, is I love to do 8 to 10 in the morning. For those people who are wondering, well, what times do you dial, Marcus? I do 8 to 10 in the morning if I'm not in an appointment. And then I take a break and I do 12 to 2. Because normally 8 to 10, I'm kind of catching my early folks, retired folks who are not at home, who are at home kind of really doing nothing. Then I'm catching my lunch crowd from 12 to 2. And then I will hit it again at 4:30 till 8:30. So that if you're doing the math, that gives you 8 hours of dial time. Yep. Sometimes your butt be hurting, it gets numb, or you just press through and dial for 8 hours straight. But I noticed that you have a better contact ratio. Like more people pick up the phone during those hours is what I have found over the last 8 years. 8 to 10, 12 to 2, 4:30 to 8:30. And those are the times that most people pick up the phone. So if you're dialing weekdays, it's kind of what I would encourage you to do. If you're dialing weekend, anytime is good. I do like to do 8 to 12 on Saturdays. If I don't get enough appointments, I call it overtime. I force myself to get back on the phone Saturday evening, Sunday evening, and fill up my schedule because that plane is taking off on Monday and Tuesday. Hopefully, Alliance Nation, this has helped. This is Marcus Richardson and Carla Richardson. We love you. Hopefully, this has been a blessing to you, but I want everybody across the nation to start preaching the 40 appointments a week because we can do it. And once we start doing it, it will begin to change and revolutionize our business. It'll revolutionize our personal life. And if you're full-time, there's no reason you can't do 40. And if you're part-time, there's no reason you can't do 20. So again, get after it. Appreciate you.